let's make a pom-pom. Pom-poms are super easy and fun to make, especially if you have a tool readily available for you to use in order to make them. For this demonstration, I'm going to use the Susan Bates Easy Wrap Pom Pom Maker. This pom pom maker comes with 4 different pom pom makers in 4 different sizes. You can see them listed right here. It's 1 1/4 inches, 1 3/4 inches, 2 3/4 inches, or 3.5 inches. When you open up this packaging, you have a set of instructions and then all of the pom pom makers, and they look like this. So when you open it up, you'll see that there are 2 sets of each thing. So there are 2 whites, 2 purple, 2 green, and then 2 yellow. These 2 sets then open up and have 2 other sets within one. So you end up having 4 of each one. Does that make sense? So there really are 4 white, 4 purple, 4 green, 4 yellow. We're going to use the yellow for today's demonstration, and I have opened up these sections. So all I've done is I've taken this and I've pulled it apart, okay? Once you've pulled these apart, what you want to do is you want to partner up one piece that has sort of like this hook section and one piece that has the flat section. When they are butted together, you'll notice that they are not flush. They actually have a little bit of an opening there. What that is there is it's created by these little bumps in the pom-pom maker. So when you butt those up just like that, it leaves a little crevice, and that's the perfect spot for us to be able to put our scissors through and actually cut the pom-pom apart. See, pretty cool, huh? So what you will do is once you've butt this up together, you will grab your yarn and you will start wrapping the yarn around the pom-pom maker. Now, it seems a little tricky at first until you get a couple of wraps in, and then it holds together really well. So once you get a couple wraps, you just hold it and start wrapping. And what I like to do is I like to keep track of how many times I go down and back. So that way, when I do this same process on the other half of my pom-pom, I know roughly about how thick this side is, and I can make the next side of my pom-pom about the same thickness. So that was down and back once, so I'm going to go down again. This would make 3, and I'm using the collage yarn, which is a jumbo yarn. I think I'm going to go back one more time. If I were to run out of yarn, say, and needed to add more yarn as I'm going through this process, you absolutely can do that. You don't have to have one long continuous strand of yarn. You could add multiple strands or multiple colors if that's what you choose. Once you get down to where you feel like this is secure enough, you would trim your yarn. So I've already cut that yarn. And then we'll set this aside. So I'll set this aside. I'll set it right there. And I'll grab my next one. Partner up those 2 pieces together and repeat the process. So let me go ahead and I will wrap this one as well. Okay, so I have wrapped this side as well, and it's time to put these 2 sections together. Now, as you remember, we have a little section here that looks like a hook and a section that looks flat. And we have that on both of these portions of the pom-pom, correct? So what we are going to do is you have to jimmy in the flat section into the hook section on both edges. Can you see that? And then you also need to make sure you do that on this edge as well. So you want to get them all together. So what I have found is if I do the bottom portion first, and I kind of go in like I'm kind of pulling it in like so, and then I kind of fit this one in just like that, it really makes them come together well versus putting both of these 2 in it first and then trying to get these 2. It's best if you do like both the bottom ones and then both the top ones. Once everything is joined together and in place, that's where you will take your scissors and working in that crevice area that I explained before that's created for your scissors, you will now just trim this apart. And this is like one of the most fun things to do. You do want to have a nice sharp pair of scissors when you do this. Make sure you don't cut yourself and just go all the way around the pom-pom. maker, you'll notice I'm just rotating it around. And when I get to the end here, snip that. I don't want to take this apart yet, but you can see I have all of these nice trimmings and they're all just sectioned right there around the pom-pom maker. Now the next part is to pull our pom-pom closed, and usually you can use the same yarn you've used to create your pom-pom to do this part, but sometimes that yarn could be a little bit loose, not spun as tight as it could be, and it will let your pom-pom just poof and fall apart. That's why I like to use Aunt Lydia's cotton thread to pull together my pom-poms. It really cinches them closed nice and tight, and it keeps them together. It also is a great way to secure a pom-pom to the top of the hat. I am going to quadruple my length of Aunt Lydia's thread here because I want to make sure it is nice and strong. I want to make sure I make this thread nice and long because I can use it to secure my pom-pom to the top of the hat. I will take my thread and I want to make sure it's quadrupled. Remember, I have it quadrupled here. And I am going to thread this thread through that same opening that we used for the scissors. Once I thread it through, I'm just going to tie it. Okay, so now I've tied it. And now I'm going to pull this tie really tight. And you can see as I'm pulling it tight, it's pulling that pom-pom closed. Now, that's only one tie, right? And I want to make sure that it's going to stay tied. So what I like to do is I will flip the pom-pom maker over, come up the opposite side through the same section, okay? Give it a tie again and pull it again. So I'm pulling it one more time. I like to do that one more time. Yes, this could be overkill, but honestly, I just want to make sure my pom-pom stays together. Nothing worse than having a pom-pom fall apart on you. Once you feel like you have pulled it nice and secure, as tight as you can, what you're going to do is you're going to take apart the pom-pom. Okay, this is almost magical. You ready? So you take these apart. Just like you put it together, take it apart. If I can do this. Oh, I just don't want it to burst. Okay. Here's one section. Here's another section. And then these little bits come out. Here is my thread that I used to pull everything nice and closed, right? So I'm going to make sure I have a hold of that. And then I'm going to give this a good shake. And when I do that, you can see I have a really great pom-pom right here, okay? Now I will trim it up just a little bit just to even out any rough sections. And you can do this over a trash can. Now you can see, even though I thought I was making these long enough, I totally didn't. Look, they're so short. There's no way I can use those to secure them to the top of the hat. So if this is the same situation you find yourself in, it's no problem. All you would do is grab some more of that cotton thread and thread it through the top of the hat you'd want to add your pom-pom to, and then use your tapestry needle to go through the pom-pom itself to make it nice and secure. And hopefully you would grab on to some of this that's on the inside, because this is nice and this is dense. This is really great. So I'm going to clean up my pom-pom here. And to do that, I've grabbed my trash can and I am just going to even this out a little bit. I'm just going around the pom-pom and I'm just making it so it looks a little bit more uniform and there aren't like really big sections poking out. I'm going to leave those little white bits right now, my thread that I used to close it, just so I can find them. And you know what? Because this pom-pom maker was so good, I didn't have to do a whole lot of trimming here. Look at that. Look at that great pom-pom. Oh my gosh, that is an awesome pom-pom. All right, this is a great pom-pom. I don't know about you, but this pom-pom maker really allows you to make super awesome pom-poms. Now you know how to make an awesome pom-pom using the Susan Bates Easy Wrap Pom-Pom Maker. Go out, grab yourself one. I'll put a link right down there in the video description box below. And while you're down there, smash that like button. Thanks. I'm sure there are other videos here that you will enjoy. Go ahead and check out some of my knitting and crochet videos as well as some of my crafting videos. You will love them, I promise. If you hit subscribe, you'll be up to date whenever there's a new video released. And as my kids say, don't forget to smash that like button. Bye! Everything you need to know about knitting or crochet can be found right here on the Marley Bird YouTube channel. Learn with Marley Bird. Visit youtube.com/Marley Bird.